In Chapter 604, there's a moment hiding right in plain sight. Luffy picks his nose, takes a step, and in the very next panel, he brushes his hand right next to Usopp's arm. Guess what he did? He wiped the booger right on him, in front of everyone. Decades of readers walked right past it, and that's just the warm-up. Today I pulled together 100 details just like this one, secrets, oddities, and trivia that Oda hid, confirmed in interviews, or just slipped past everyone in the panels. Let's start with number 1. Before we dive in, if you're enjoying the video, drop a like, it genuinely helps the channel grow, and subscribe so you don't miss the next theory, trivia, and analysis videos. Now let's get into all 100. 1. At 19 years old, Luffy is the youngest of all 12 Worst Generation members and also the youngest emperor in history. 2. Luffy, Sanji, and Usopp all claim they've never been sick a day in their lives. But let's be honest, Usopp is definitely lying. 3. Luffy's birthday is May 5th, Children's Day in Japan. A perfect fit for the most childlike character in the crew. 4. A fan once asked Oda why Luffy never kills his enemies. His answer, it's not about morality. Letting a villain live to watch their own dream collapse is a far worse punishment than death. 5. Yes, someone actually asked Oda if every part of Luffy's body stretches. And yes, Oda confirmed every part. 6. Luffy barely has any thought bubbles in the manga. Oda's reasoning, he wanted a character who simply acts and says what he wants instead of overthinking everything. 7. Luffy's favorite food is meat. His least favorite is cherry pie for reasons Oda has never fully explained. 8. The dish Luffy most enjoys cooking is raw meat on a plate. No secrets there. 9. If One Piece were set in the real world, Oda confirmed Luffy would be Brazilian. 10. According to the creator, Luffy's constant inner monologue boils down to meat, 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 and King of the Pirates. 11. Luffy showers once a week, the same as Zoro and Brook. 12. If the Straw Hats weren't pirates, Luffy would be a firefighter. 13. In a hypothetical 50-meter race among the crew, Brook would win for being the lightest, followed by Sanji. Then Luffy in third, Zoro would come in fifth because, of course, he'd get lost along the way. 14. Of the entire crew, Robin is the only one Luffy never personally invited to join. 15. Buggy is the first confirmed Paramecia user shown in the series, since Luffy's fruit was later revealed to be a mythical zone. 16. Luffy's scar under his eye appeared as early as Chapter 1 of the manga. In the anime, its origin wasn't explained until episode 871, 20 years later. 17. Buggy and Usopp have more in common than people realize. Both were the weakest members of their crews. Both have unusually shaped noses. Both are natural cowards who'd rather flee than fight. Both are skilled chemists. Both lie constantly, and both are deeply loved by the people they've saved. 18. A fan asked Oda whether Buggy's private parts can also split apart and fly. Oda's answer, yes, they can, only his feet can't fly. 19. Another fan asked if Buggy bleeds when he splits apart. Oda said no, because that would make him far too terrifying. 20. Even after eating the human fruit, Chopper never developed an interest in humans. He's still drawn to reindeer and reindeer hybrids like Milk. 21. One Piece was long the third best-selling comic in the world. As of March, it surpassed 490 million copies sold, claiming second place behind only Superman. 22. Yes, a fan asked Oda if Robin can sprout literally any part of her body. Confirmed, any part. 23. Robin can physically feel through the body parts she sprouts. Oda confirmed she felt it when she grabbed Franky using her power. 24. If the Straw Hats were a family, Jin would be the father, Robin the mother, Franky the perverted grandmother, Brook the grandfather, Nami the daughter, Zoro the firstborn, Sanji the second child, Usopp the third, and Chopper the youngest. 25. When the crew's hair grows too long, it's Robin, Usopp, and Sanji who cut it. 26. A real-life pirate also named Teach actually existed and at one point allied himself with a government before betraying it. 27. In the anime, when Chinzhou meets Ace, he's shown with both arms despite having already lost one to a Sea King. The error was later fixed in a re-released version of the episode. 28. Chinzhou was the first character in the story to show Haki, using it in the very first chapter after a Sea King attacked him. 29. Universal Studios. Japan built replicas of Ace and Whitebeard's graves as a tribute to their deaths. 30. Whitebeard once had a dog named Stefan who, fittingly, sported a mustache worthy of his owner. 31. Just like with Big Mom, Kato's first ever silhouette, shown before his full appearance, looked very different from his final design: a rounder head, a pointed nose, and a huge, sinister grin. 32. Ace's back tattoo originally included a swastika symbol in the manga, later changed to the version we know today because of its resemblance to the Nazi symbol. 33. Ace leading the Spade Pirates is a pun. The Ace of Spades is also known as the Death card, possibly an early hint at his fate. 34. Ace should have been born in February, but he wasn't born until January. His mother held off the birth for 20 months instead of the usual 9, just to protect him. 35. Roger's mustache was originally meant to be overgrown nose hair, and honestly, if you look closely, it still kind of looks like it. 36. Before becoming a warlord, Blackbeard was wanted by the Marines with a bounty of 0 berries, the lowest ever recorded in the series. 37. Kobe changed so drastically in such a short time because of a growth spurt combined with Garp's brutal training. 38. Early in the story, Garp used to smoke cigars. At some point, he simply stopped. 39. Garp was the first character in the story to use armament hockey, injuring Luffy's rubber body with a punch to the head. 40. Pay close attention to the background of the panels. There's a recurring character named Pandaman who shows up constantly in both the manga and anime. Oda's official secret cameo. 41. Oda confirmed that if Enel were a wanted pirate, his bounty would sit at 500 million berries. 42. In the anime, Garp claims to have eaten 842 donuts in one sitting, without sleeping or stopping, trying to break a world record. Who do you think actually holds that record? 43. Usopp's birthday is April 1st, April Fool's Day, fitting for the biggest liar in the crew. 44. Big Mom has married 43 different people and had 46 sons and 39 daughters. No wonder she's called the Big Mom. 45. Oda once said that writing Ace's death was emotionally heavy, but that the ending of One Piece will hit even harder. 46. Chopper was originally going to be a zebra reindeer who smoked cigars. Good thing that idea never made it to print. 47. Even though eye patches are practically a pirate glitch, no character has worn one yet in the series, but Oda has confirmed one will show up by the end. 48. Sanji is the third most intelligent character in all of East Blue, behind only Ben Beckman and Captain Kuro. 49. The cover of Volume 25, released in 2002, shows the 4 emperors of the time in the exact same order as the in-universe newspaper article that announced them. An Easter egg Oda planted over 20 years ago. 50. Shanks was offered warlord status and turned it down. It's the first known instance of anyone rejecting the invitation. 51. Sanji's original name was supposed to be Naruto. Since the Naruto manga was about to launch in the same magazine, Oda changed the name to avoid confusion. 52. Sanji was initially conceived as a gunslinger with a cowboy-style look. 53. A manga scene showing young Sanji starting to smoke, encouraged by Zeph, was cut from the anime, likely to avoid promoting smoking. 54. In the anime, Zeph cuts off his own leg to escape an anchor chain and carries Sanji to safety. In the original manga, it's far darker. He loses his leg because he ate it to survive while stranded on a deserted island. 55. Zoro was originally conceived as Buggy's bodyguard, the older brother figure of the crew. 56. On the last page of chapter 698, Zoro is drawn with the wrong chest scar, a thick cross instead of the thin diagonal line he actually got from Mihawk. 57. If the Straw Hats weren't pirates, Zoro would be a police officer. 58. In several color covers, Nami's tattoo after Arlong Park is shown in black, while in the anime it stays the same blue as her old Arlong Pirates tattoo. 59. If she weren't a pirate, Nami would be a nanny. 60. In the earliest concepts, Usopp was meant to be the crew's vice captain and sniper, with a much shorter nose closer to his father's. 61. Sojking is a Japanese pun. Sageki means sniper, and combined with king, it literally means king of snipers. 62. Ironically, Most of Usopp's made-up lies and tall tales ended up actually coming true at some point in the story. 63. If they weren't pirates, Usopp would be a graphic designer. 64. Usopp's nose measures 13 centimeters, making it the fourth longest nose among all characters shown so far. 65. The idea of Brook as a musical skeleton existed since Oda's very first sketch of Laboon. The design wasn't finalized then, but the concept stuck until Brook was finally introduced. 66. Brook is the oldest member of the crew, joining at age 88, more than double Frankie's age, who was the oldest member at the time. 67. Brook was the first Straw Hat to have a bounty. He already had one worth 33 million berries, decades before Luffy was even born. 68. If they weren't pirates, Brook would be a detective. 69. Jinbe's original concept was very different, inspired by the Yumibozu of Japanese folklore, with a bold, mafia boss-like personality, and he would have been a villain secretly controlling Arlong from the shadows. 70. In a second concept, Jin would have joined the crew even earlier as a helmsman named Saigo, described as a close friend of Zoro. 71. Gall D. Roger was inspired by a real pirate named Olivier Levasseur, who also threw a cryptogram to the crowd at his own execution, claiming whoever solved it would inherit his treasure. 72. Big Mom's name, Charlotte Linlin, was initially misprinted as Lin Lin on her first wanted poster before being corrected. 73. In chapters 610 and 930, her name briefly appeared as Big Man before being corrected back to Big Mom. 74. When Tamago mentioned that Big Mom was a female pirate, Sanji pictured an attractive redhead. Poor guy must have been disappointed. 75. According to Oda, Sakazuki is so powerful that if he were the protagonist, he could end the entire series in just 1 year. 76. In the original manga, Law flips off Kid at the auction house. The anime softened it into a simple smug glance instead. 77. At just 26 years old, Law was the youngest pirate ever known to hold a position among the 7 warlords. 78. Kid holds the record for the biggest single bounty jump in history at 2.53 billion berry increase, surpassing Blackbird's previous record. 79. Doflamingo was originally conceived as a rapper, and a bit younger than his final version. 80. Every member of the monkey family has a distinct mark on the left side of their face. Luffy and Garp have scars, while Dragon has a large tattoo. 81. Oda himself confirmed that One Piece isn't a metaphor for the journey, it's a literal, physical treasure. 82. Whenever Luffy signs an autograph, he writes me instead of his actual name. 83. Chopper's autograph is literally just his hoofprint. 84. The Thousand Sunny was completed on March 25th, 1 month after the crew entered the Grand Line. 85. During a scene with Nami near a bookshelf, 2 titles appear side by side, One Piece and a book credited to Eiichiro Oda, a direct self-reference from the author. 86. In Water 7, Luffy sketches what he imagines the crew's future shipwright will look like. The drawing is terrible, but it already has the colors, the iron nose, and the pompadour that would later define Frankie. 87. In Alabasta, when answering a call, Sanji introduces himself as Mr. Prince, and it's later revealed he genuinely was royalty, a planted Easter egg, years ahead of the reveal. 88. After Naruto ended, Oda drew a cover packed with tributes, the Leaf Village symbol, the N from the Naruto logo highlighted, and Naruto himself in the background eating meat next to Nami, while Luffy eats ramen. 89. In the anime, kids throw tomatoes at young Robin. In the manga, they throw rocks instead. 90. During the fight between Akainu and Whitebeard, the anime shows an attack slicing off part of Whitebeard's mustache. In the manga, the same attack hits his head, melting part of his skull. 91. When Sanji announces he'll cook for Don Krieg's starving crew, the Barity staff react by pointing kitchen utensils at him in the anime, but in the manga, they pull out actual firearms. 92. Besides sleeping, training, and getting lost, Zoro has one more hobby: browsing wanted posters and checking out new weapons. 93. The Alabasta arc is packed with Egyptian references from the culture to shared place names, and even the 2 devil fruit users introduced there are tied to Egyptian themes. 94. Aliens genuinely exist within the One Piece universe. They appear in one of Enel's cover story arcs as Space Pirates 95. 1. Peace was originally planned to run for just 5 years. More than 2 decades later, the story is still going. 96. Kuzan was originally conceived as a member of CP0.97. Throughout the entire story so far, Zoro has never once called Sanji by his actual name. 98. Oda has confirmed that the weakest member of the crew isn't Nami, it's Usopp. 99. Luffy was never invited to become a warlord because he had already declared war on the world government by burning his own flag at Enies Lobby. 100. In an SBS question, a fan asked Oda which devil fruits he'd give the powerless Straw Hats. Zoro would get the Blue Dragon fruit, Nami the Thunder fruit, Usopp the Pocket fruit, Sanji the Swim fruit, and Frankie the Weapon fruit. So, how many of these did you already know? Drop a comment with the fact that surprised you the most and the one you already knew front to back. If you enjoyed the video, smash the like button, it genuinely helps the channel grow, and subscribe with notifications on so you never miss a new theory, trivia, or analysis video about One Piece. Thanks for watching all the way through, and see you in the next one.